If you're a Christian dad who works hard, shows up, pays the bills, and still feels like something's missing, this one's for you. You see, I got married at 41, became a dad at 44, building a business from scratch while doing both. And I'm learning how to provide and protect. And I feel like I'm learning this the hard way. So today I want to walk you through 3 things that every Christian dad is built for. And most of us are doing 2 of them. The one we're skipping is the one that makes the other 2 actually matter. You see, without it, you can do everything right and still feel lost. Your family can be fed, housed, and safe. And you can still feel like you're running on empty with no idea why. And here's what I want to plant before we go any further. Provide, protect, purpose. Most men will treat those like a checklist. Provide first, protect second, and purpose is somewhere down the road when things slow down. Purpose is not the 3rd item on that list. It's the foundation the other 2 stand on. And without it, providing turns into a paycheck. Protecting turns into a habit. Without it, everything that you're already doing starts to mean something. We have to lead ourselves first. Now, I want to be honest about something that I haven't fully said out loud before, outside of like family and a few friends. I've had a personal mission statement now for a few years, and it's to leave a legacy of impact. Good words, true words. I believe them. But saying them and living them are 2 different things. And for a long time, I was doing just the first one. You see, I started my current business while Autumn and I were engaged. She was still getting to know me on a deeper level, still figuring out if she could fully trust me yet. She said yes anyway, to a man in motion, headed somewhere neither of us could fully see. And that took more faith from her than it did from me. And I've never forgotten that. I've been providing since then, the 4 a.m. mornings, the long days, showing up when it would have been easier not to. I've been protecting too. I've been taking the risks so my family didn't have to. But ask me back then to describe my purpose beyond those 4 words, and I would have had nothing. You see, God was building my purpose while I thought that I was just getting through it. The hard seasons weren't detours. The weight loss, the coaching years, becoming a husband at 41 and a father at 44, none of it felt like preparation. It felt like life. And I look back now, and the line's clear. He was building the credibility before I had the platform, developing the message before I knew that I would deliver it, writing the story before I knew what it was about. I didn't find my purpose. I looked up one day and it had already been built. I had found it. You see, most Christian dads I know that are working hard. They're providing, some protecting. But if you stopped one of them in the driveway after a long day and asked, "Do you know what you're building toward?" a lot of them wouldn't say anything. Not because they don't care, because they never stopped long enough to answer that question. Or the answer feels too big and too uncertain to say out loud. Maybe you know that feeling. End of the week, bills paid, family fed. You did everything you were supposed to, but something still feels flat. It feels off, like you're running and you're not sure where you're going. And some of you are carrying a tension right now between what currently pays you and what your heart keeps pulling you toward. They're not the same thing yet. The gap is exhausting, not because you're failing, because your attention is divided and you know it. And that's not a discipline problem. It's a purpose problem. Here's the language I hear from men in this. By the time I get home, I've got nothing left. I feel like I'm maintaining and not leading. I love my family, but I don't know what I'm actually building. That's a man running on 2 cylinders, providing, protecting. But the thing that fuels both of them, that hasn't been found yet, or it hasn't been named. You can provide for your family and still be lost. Let's talk about those 3 Ps. And I'll be honest, this isn't a framework I found in a book. This is what I lived. Providing is the most visible P. It's what the world measures you by. The job, the income, the roof, the food on the table, the status. Most dads start here because it's concrete. You know if you're doing it or not. And for a lot of us, it's where our identity got anchored early. I did this for years. When my identity was built on what I produced, everything became a transaction. My worth went up when business was good, down when it wasn't. I was confusing providing for my family with leading my family. And those are not the same thing. A man can provide everything his family needs and still be absent in the ways that matter most. Protecting is more than physical. Yes, you put yourself between your family and danger, but the deeper work is protecting them from the drift. And drift happens when there's no one steering. When the loudest voice in the culture fills the vacuum that you left. When your kids get their picture of manhood from a screen because you weren't in the room. And for me, protection looks like being up at 3 or 4 in the morning before Jameson wakes up. Working on the business. Working what I'm building for his future. Sacrificing sleep, free time, things I want for myself. Because what I'm protecting isn't just his body, it's his world. You know, I heard Charlie Kirk say something recently that I haven't been able to shake. Being a father and a husband has made me realize that what I'm fighting for is beyond myself. That's it. That's what protection feels like when it's connected to purpose. You're not just guarding something, you're building something worth guarding. And I can't tell you what your purpose is. I can only tell you how it happened for me. It wasn't a lightning bolt. It wasn't a vision. It was just breadcrumbs. Small ones that were laid down over years. A conversation here, a season there, a skill that I built without knowing I needed. A hard season I survived without knowing what was really going on or what I would even be on the other side of it. Until one day recently, God laid something on my heart that I haven't been able to shake. And no matter how much I've tried, no matter how much I've wanted to set it down and focus on what currently pays me, I can't get it out of my head. And that's how I knew it was real. Purpose for a man is not something you manufacture. It's received. Ephesians 2:10 says, "We are God's handiwork, created to do good works, which he prepared in advance for us to do." He was writing the assignment before you knew that you'd be taking a test. That's what I keep coming back to. Just keep moving until the picture gets clear enough to actually name. And here's the order that matters. Purpose doesn't come after provide and protect. Purpose is what gives them their weight. When you know what you're building, when you can feel the why underneath the work, providing stops being a grind. It becomes stewardship. Protecting stops wearing you out. It becomes something you do with conviction. And a man with all three doesn't have a perfect life. He still has hard days, bills, tensions, things he hasn't figured out. But there's something underneath it all. A settled direction. A peace that holds even when things are hard. And that's what I want for my family. And I would think that you want the same. Not a man who has it all together. A man who knows what he's building and why. I'm not going to give you a 5-step plan. Purpose doesn't work that way. One question, one honest challenge. If someone stopped you in the driveway tonight and asked you, what are you building and why are you building it? Can you answer it? Not your job title, not your income goal. What are you actually building with your life and why does that matter? If you have a clear answer, that's your foundation. Build from it. If you don't, that's not a failure. It's a starting point. The man who leads himself first doesn't wait for purpose to arrive fully formed. He stays faithful in the provide and the protect while he listens for the breadcrumbs. He pays attention to things he can't shake. He notices what God keeps bringing back around. Because purpose is rarely found in waiting. It's found moving. And here's what I want to challenge myself to do this week. And I'd love for you to try it too. Pay attention to the moments when the work feels flat. When when you're busy, but the direction feels fuzzy. Don't fix it yet. Just notice it. Write it down if you need to. That quiet hollowness underneath a full schedule, that's where the purpose question lives. Naming it is just the first step toward answering it. And here's what I think it looks like when a man gets all three right. And honestly, this is what I'm working on right now. Not a man who has everything figured out. A man who knows what he's carrying and why. A dad who comes home from a hard day and still has something to give. Not because he isn't tired, because he knows what he's giving, because he knows what he's giving it for. A husband who can look his wife in the eye and say, I know what I'm building, and you're not in this alone. A father who asks his son the same question every single day, not out of habit, because he means it. Even at 3 years old, I ask Jameson the same question every day. What's Dad's main job? And every time he knows the answer, protect Jameson. And that answer will take years to earn. Not the words, the weight behind the words. The peace that comes from knowing why you show up every single day. That's what purpose does. It doesn't change what you work on. It changes why everything you're already doing matters. And that's what I want for you. One thing this week, ask yourself the driveway question. What am I building and why? Sit with it. Don't rush an answer. Let it surface. Then come back and drop a comment below. Tell me where you are. Clear on your purpose right now or still searching? There's no wrong answers here, just honest ones. And if this hits something for you, send it to one guy who needs to hear it. You already know who that is. So next week, we're going to get into something that trips up almost every Christian dad I've talked to. And it lives right in the middle of everything we've covered today. I'll see you then.